about food and how you address your plate, right? And when I say address, we're going to talk about it, and then we're going to dress it and put some food on it. And so hopefully you find yourself in one of the categories that I talk about this evening. This evening, you will fall into one of these categories. Carrie, help me to understand how to fill my plate with the 3 macronutrients, protein, carb, and fat, and just get it on there. Okay, that could be you, and that's great. Now, you might be like, Carrie, I know about putting the 3 macronutrients on my plate, and now I want to get a little bit more specific. Now, I don't want it to run my life and rule over me. So, I'll teach you how to use this, yes, your hand, as your measuring system. Okay. Now, you might be like, Carrie, I know about the 3 macronutrients, protein, carb, and fat. I know that I want them on my plate, especially at my meals, to have all 3. But I am really trying to make a change, and I want to see some major changes in myself, whether it's performance, physique, health, overall wellness, and this is behind like energy, sleep, right? Productivity, and exercise, and maybe performance even. So again, if you are just now joining us this evening, welcome. Make yourself at home. It's so nice to be in our homes and be able to learn and be together, if you will. So tonight we are going to, and I have my whiteboard up, and I know you can't see everything that I have out today. I have a nice spread here. But again, tonight, this evening, we are going to address what is on your plate. And when you're eating, how do you make sure that your macronutrients are on there? So your proteins, your carbs, and your fats when you eat. And which person are you? Again, I'm going to just mention them one more time. Are you the person that says, Carrie, tell me again what the macros are, and tell me I need to get them all on there, and just if I get them on there, I am winning the day. Perfect. That might be you. Welcome. Now, you might be like, Carrie, I know about the 3 macronutrients, protein, carb, and fat. I do eat them on my plate, but I know I can get more specific about the amount of food I'm eating. Maybe you're overeating. Maybe you're undereating, which is very, very typical, and still not losing, right? We think eat less, lose weight, be fit, and have all the energy. Not the case. So we want to make sure. So if we can use your hand as a measuring system, how can we use that and eyeball it, we'll say, to put the right protein, carb, and fats on your plate? Now, if you fall out of those 2 and you go, Carrie, I want to get more specific. I want to specifically focus on getting my body fat down, my body composition to shift and change. I'm committed to spending a little bit more time in the kitchen, and I want to get specific. And again, all of the factors that we are really listening to in our own bodies about how our nutrition is playing a role is, how are you sleeping, right? How's your energy? How is your mental focus, right? Your productivity throughout the day? How's your performance and recovery? 2 different things, right? Performing in the gym and then recovering so you can do it again, which increases recovery. So these are all factors that play a role in the way that you feed your bodies. So welcome to Lift Off Nutrition. I'm going to call this 101. How do you fill your plate with the right foods? So when you are just figuring out, we're going to start with person one, right? Hi, I just want to say hello to everyone. Good to see you all. So the plate needs to be filled with protein, carb, and fat. So if we just look at some foods that I brought out this evening, I went ahead and got, and I'm going to talk about grocery shopping. Okay, we cook, and probably majority of us for right now are cooking, in our homes. Maybe you were eating out a lot more, okay, and we want to address that as well. Even if you're eating out some, how do you manage your plate when you're out to eat and making sure you're still getting quality food and the right amount, right? So I'm going to just talk a little bit about protein, right? So we've got chicken here, already pre-sliced and cooked, okay? I also pulled out a turkey meat, right? Just some lunch meat, if you will. And what I did there, so those are proteins. We've got ground beef, maybe you like some pork chop. So lean and clean protein sources. So that's one of your macros. The second macro is your carbohydrates. So your carbohydrates fall in the range of vegetables, right? We've got some romaine here. We've got arugula. I pulled out our broccoli pre-cut. You're gonna notice I have some pre-made things. I've got a cucumber here, carbs, mango. I also brought out some nice tomatoes here. And I even went ahead and earlier chopped up a little bit of yellow squash. This is actually from my garden. Super pumped about that. Got 2 this week. First to feed us from the garden. I also want to address the fact that yes, there is pasta, quinoa. In fact, I do have some of those things. If I disappear from the screen for a moment, I want to make sure that you know I'm coming back. Also, I'm going to be talking a lot. All of us, let's go ahead and grab your water. Let's drink water. We may as well do that together. Awesome. So I pulled out some food this evening, but I just want to, so I went over the carbs. I also back here have lined up my olive oil and avocado oil. These are fats that you often find in all homes or most homes. So these are good fats. So I want to talk about fat. Those are the way we're getting some of the fat. Some of the food I have out here today, like hummus, is also already has fat in it. I've got some carrots. I pre-measured a few of these things, guys. So when you're looking at this, by the way, this is a little bit of food prepping happening, even as we talk this evening. So right now we have identified chicken and some turkey meat for our protein. We've identified lots of vegetables and fruit here on the table for carbohydrates. I'm actually gonna pull out some rice as well, quinoa as well. And then also I want to address the fats, which I have our olive oil, avocado oil. I pulled out some almond butter here as well. And so I'm also gonna mention that hummus, sometimes we're like, what is hummus? Hummus is actually a combination of protein, carb, and fat. However, it sits high on the fat, meaning it's primarily a fat when you enter it in. So you wanna acknowledge all the components of the food that is packaged and pre-made for you. So we got to make sure that we keep that in tune. Now, some of you might not be food logging. Some of you are using MyFitnessPal as a log-in system, which is awesome. Let me say this, when you write it down, no matter what you do, write it down, log it, maybe you use notes. That is holding yourself accountable. When you take it one step further and you share that with a coach or someone that is going to hold you accountable, now you're taking that next step in accountability. And that's what us Lift Off nutrition coaches do. We take it to those steps and meet you where you're at and help to engage you in furthering your knowledge and progression in getting you results. So stepping back into what is on your plate. When I come and look at my plate and all I'm simply needing to do is go, I need some protein, carbs, and fats. I would then dress my plate by putting a little bit of chicken. So I've got 2 nice slices here of chicken. By the way, I always pick up some pre-cooked sliced chicken breast meat because I need it to be convenient and ready for me, okay? Then when it's time to prep food and cook food, usually in the evening, I make enough for some leftovers. But lunch and sometimes often breakfast or that mid-morning or midday, I like already made, so it's convenient and easy for me to get to. So I've got my chicken. So let's say I put those 2 slices, kind of guessing about the amount that is gonna be. So for me, I'd say, okay, that looks pretty good. And actually, probably to be honest, I'd probably put a 3rd slice for sure. So now we've got some chicken on my plate. So we've got protein taken care of. I am a big salad eater and I love arugula. So I know that this is a carb. Now, when you know and acknowledge carbohydrates, you know this has a lot of good nutrients in it, so it's nutrient dense. Check that out. That is a amount of arugula that I would eat. But let me tell you this is my salad bowl. I use this and usually do 1, right? This is all stuffed in there. 2, and oftentimes 3, right? That's how I eat salad. Now, usually what I do with that is I do add in some romaine, and I chop this up because I like the crunch, but I love the flavor and taste of arugula. So I'll take this and I'll actually slice and dice all the way down with my knife. It's very fast for me. I'm getting used to making salads. So I'll chop that up and I'll throw that in. Now, I usually will do half of this. That goes to me, and then the other half may go to Savannah or Chris or someone. But this would be very normal, especially if I know I'm getting some other things. So right here, just so you know, I'd probably grab some carrots, okay? Just probably that amount, just so you know there's a few more in there. Earlier I weighed this, so I'm gonna get back to that. So I've got some carrots there. So right now I have carbohydrate, okay? Now for me, I'm gonna think about just making, again, I'm gonna go back, I was gonna jump ahead. I'm gonna go back, I'm just now thinking protein, carb, and fat on my plate. So I've got protein and carbs. Now, I do know I like some cherry tomatoes. I always slice my tomatoes. Yes, these little guys, I don't eat them whole. I cut them in half. That's just my preference, but I'm gonna put them on for convenience. So I put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on, sliced in half, double. And now, what do I need? Fat. So the thing that will complete my plate, okay, is some fat. Now, some of you would grab the olive oil or maybe like a dressing, a ranch dressing or something, and I would simply take this and do just like this. Boom. Now I love apple cider vinegar, so I would grab my apple cider vinegar, stir it up a little bit, shake it up a little bit, and I'm gonna just splash that on. And then of course, I'm a big fan a little bit of salt, right? So we always, if you're eating fresh, salt that food up, and a little bit of pepper. And I'm gonna be honest, my garden has basil. Put some basil on your pepper. Put some basil on your salad, amazing. Or any kind of herbs that you can just fresh, chip up, cut them up with some scissors and chop away. So that's a plate, that is plated. Now, some of you that did a hard exercise today, you might want a little bit more of a starchy carbohydrate. That's where maybe the rice comes in. Let me grab something real quick. This is very convenient. So I love this rice melody. You can pick it up, most likely at any store, but this is a Trader Joe purchase. So it comes in this bag, just like that, it's frozen. Okay, this contains 6 servings, and so this is gonna be, well, hold up, maybe not, maybe I'm reading my container wrong. 1 cup is a serving, so this might be 2 not cooked, so okay, I'm gonna cook that, and then I'm gonna measure out, and I'm gonna do 1/4 of a cup, okay, or no measuring. So now, just put some rice on, whatever you want, because why, now we have carrots, tomatoes, arugula, some chicken, drizzle of olive oil, and some rice. So the only fat on my plate today was a dash of olive oil, and here we go. And that to me looks amazing. I'd probably put that chicken right on top. Yum. Plated, right? This is a whole yummy meal, easy to do, that took seconds. Why? Because I had everything it was just packaged, right? I just opened it and put it in. So just to let you know, it can be that easy. Now, let me grab us another plate here. So I'm gonna plate up another something. Awesome. Okay, now, sip of water, everybody join me. Let's get more specific real quick. I'm gonna use my hand now as the measurement. Take the palm of your hand, that's the chicken. Okay, my hands are clean, by the way. So now my chicken, I'm just gonna do this. You wouldn't do this in a restaurant. But look, 2 pieces are stacked, right? So really, I even said I'd probably have 3. 3 is about the density, that last piece was pretty thick. The density of my hand, the size of my palm. There's my chicken. Boom, measurement. Protein is the palm. Now, on your carbohydrates, think in 3s. I want you to think, when you eat carbohydrates, think in 3s. So you get 3 servings of carbs. Okay, I'm pulling out the knife. Don't worry, don't have to cut much. All right, so now I've got my broccoli, and I just want to show you something. Vegetables get this amount, okay? So this is going to be a serving. Just so you know, I'm just opening this up, meaning like it fills the entire hand. There's one, okay? Remember I said you get 3. Now I'm gonna take those carrots. I'm gonna actually snag them off the other plate. Remember, you get a whole open palm, 3 of them. 4, look, carrots. Now, a little bit higher starch, but guys, carrots are good for you, by the way. So good, that's a whole palm. Dense, yes. So I'm building my plate here. Okay, so there's 2, so I get to choose. Do I want to put some fruit? Would I want to put some rice? Let's actually say we're gonna go with the rice. Now, bear with me. I'm gonna go ahead and do this. This is gonna be kind of fun. Rice is my 3rd carb I'm choosing. It goes in this kind of hand. Look at that, just like that. I know you probably wouldn't do this at the restaurant, you know, but you're gonna eyeball it. So I'm just kind of giving you a visual. So look, I'm pouring this rice, which is gonna fluff a little bit. Okay, and I get more than that, but it's gonna go everywhere if I'm not careful. Yep, all over my plate. All right, so look, check it out. That's the scoop of rice you get. That's a serving of quinoa, rice, pasta. Do you get some? Yeah, you get some. Now, it's cooked, let's pretend it's cooked. It goes right on my plate. So now, I've got my carbs, 3 types, my chicken, look at that. The only thing missing is fat. Now, I get to choose, how am I gonna make my fat today? Do I want to drizzle olive oil? Let's say that broccoli's steamed. On my broccoli, do I want to dip my carrots in ranch? Do I want to put some hummus for my ranch and maybe dip my broccoli? I think that's the way we go. So most of us get a spoon, probably not a tablespoon. I'll be right back. Grab a spoon, right? And all you have to do is probably do what? Do you like that? Right? It's a scoop. Now, mind you, this has a little carb in it, but boom, fat. So now look, I've got carbs, fat, and protein. All by using my hand, which by the way, I didn't talk about it. Starchy carbs, remember, here. Vegetables, here. Okay? And fat, right here. So let's just see. Let's see if this measures out. My thumb, it's a little bit more, right? But think butter, patted butter, right here. Almonds, walnuts. Ooh, I know, guys, I know. It gets upsetting a little bit, but the truth is, right, here we go. I wanted to have some walnuts for you guys. I love walnuts, right? So you take walnuts, look at that, thumb, that's my thumb, and I got some fat. So you don't get many, but you get some. Enjoy them. Those are whole walnuts. Love having some raw walnuts. Great on salads. Just remember though, if you're adding olive oil and then you start adding walnuts and you start adding goat cheese, are we in the fat zone? We're in the fat zone, so you gotta chill out on that. Okay, plated, using what? A measuring system. This measuring system goes with you everywhere. Now, I'm gonna get to our last plate and then we're gonna wrap it up. The last plate is actually measuring and being extremely specific. Why would you do that? Maybe you've tried these other ways and you're like, you know, it's time to dial it in. I am trying to get the body composition that I want. Actually, my sleep is not off. My hormones don't seem quite balanced. And I feel like I have more to give. And guess what? Most likely, if you haven't done this next system, you probably do have more to give. So, we're gonna get one more plate out. Okay, now I'm just gonna do this as fast as I can because I don't wanna take all your dinner and family time. One more plate. Here's what you need. You've gotta get a scale, okay? Your scale is gonna measure in ounces, okay? It can actually measure in grams, but you want to get a digital scale, easy to come by. Target has them, so you can do that very quick and easy. Now, I'm going to measure out because I know I want to get 25 to 32 grams of protein nearly at every meal. Now, when you start using a calculation system like MyFitnessPal, you have to measure your chicken, okay? And you just turn it on, see where it's at. We're gonna go with ounces. I'm gonna set that on there. Okay, we've got 3 ounces on there. I'm gonna actually just demonstrate the palm thing again. Now, these are smaller pieces, not covering the whole, so it's stacked higher. but there's 3 ounces of protein. If I were to go back over to my other plates, okay, here's the one where I laid it on my hand. Let's just see what it is. 3 ounces, 3.75. Okay, so a little more, but that last piece was pretty thick. All right, let's get that one where I said, I don't care, how much protein would I really eat? That one, 3.3. And that was me just eyeballing it going, that seems right. That's how much protein I'd eat. Now, some of you undereat. So I'm gonna go back, look at your palm and use it. Now, so I measured my protein, boom, it's on my plate. Now, what I did with those carrots that I did put on this plate, I said, okay, I'm gonna actually measure those out. There's 2 ways you can do it, right? You can take your measuring cup. If you have a measuring system, so Lift Off Go does provide you with systems. If you're done the Summer Melt with us or the Summer Sizzle, we have some different charting systems. We use the zone methodology for some of this measuring. So I think I did a half cup. That's not my half cup. Where's my 2/3 cup? I'm still off. Half cup carrots. Boom, let's see what it looks like. Getting it. It's pretty good. So now I've got that measured out. Okay, so I'm gonna go half cup carrots carb. Now I can measure out my cooked rice. And if we go with that half cup cooked rice, right here. Oh, and a little too much. Yep, so we want to measure that up, pre-cooked. We'll dump some into this other plate. All right, measured half cup rice, boom, onto there. Now, I also could take that over to my scale. Here's some secret things. Okay, so I've got 2 starch, I've got that. Now, when we get into something like the olive oil, a little hummus on my thing. The thing about olive oil is you can take it and you can take your little measuring tablespoons and teaspoons, just like it says on the bottle, right? It says that I can have 1 tablespoon, which will allot me 14 grams fat. So 1 tablespoon. Is that a lot or a little? Sometimes we think it is a little, but when we go back to actually I'm gonna do this because we're gonna eat some salad. So actually when I measure that, and I just want you to visually see, how does it drizzle? Because remember that first thing I did, I just took the bottle and tilted it over. Now I'm known to drizzle too long. So doing this and just watching it, you start to get an understanding of really what the right amount is. So after you do this for a while, you're gonna get it down and your plate is gonna start to turn out better than it ever has with the right nutrients, with more accuracy, and then it's gonna dial in and get you better results. Now, take my squash for example. I'm gonna cook this. Do you know how much water is in squash? A ton. So when this cooks down, then I'm gonna measure it. So I'm actually gonna end up probably eating 2 whole squash just because it waters down. Take spinach for example, right? 4 cups spinach is 1 serving. Think of 4 cups of spinach. We're talking about like this, more maybe. So that's gonna cook down into 1 1/4 cup, and so you could almost eat a whole bag of spinach if you steam it. Add your olive oil, etc. Thing about fruits, these kinds of things, obviously they have more sugar in them, so they're a little higher in carbohydrate. So those things you wanna make sure, get on the serving size, how much carbs are in them if there's a container, or use one of our measuring systems so as you start to identify. Another one I want you guys to just to be, here's my last thing I'm gonna say. So my plate is being built out of systemizing with weighing and measuring. So who are you? Do we just need to start formulating our plate with protein, carb, and fat, like I did my first plate? Or is it time for you to start really gauging it with your hand? And last, there are some things, and I recommend starting with protein. Measure your protein. And let me step back. Let me say 2 things. Protein, because usually we undereat it. So if you're trying to get the right amount of protein, weigh it and measure it, and then put it into your containers so you have it pre-ready for you. Last, measure your fat, because if you overeat almond butter and you can't imagine why you are not getting it down, it's because this thing is addicting. peanut butter, almond butter, cashew butter. These things are like spoonfuls, go in so easy, and you keep dipping or your bread keeps getting smoothed over. Yes, you can have bread. You have to measure this kind of thing, right? The density of it sometimes can be more than you think. So getting out your measuring tablespoons or teaspoons, absolutely crucial. And then next would be to actually weigh it on your scale and find out what the density of that is, and then correlate that back into something like a MyFitnessPal to get an accurate measurement on the amount of fat you're getting. Because if you're over consuming some of those healthy fats, this is not helping us get to where we want to go. And we're like, we're eating all the good food, yet we're still missing the mark. So let me make sure that I covered everything. You know, should you eat till you're full? You should eat according to your serving size. And remember, there's always a next meal coming. So don't ever think, man, this is my last meal, I have to eat it all now. No, just eat to satisfy, right? Never overeating, and knowing like in 2 to 3 hours there's another meal coming. So I hope this helped out some this evening. Please send me any messages that you may have, or questions rather, that you may have about what we've discussed this evening. I would love to help. We have some amazing nutrition coaches on our Lift Off Body team, and we want to help you dial it in, hit your goals, or wherever you're at. I know that we have the resources to be able to help you. So reach out. Thank you for being here this evening. I hope you learned something, and we will see you next time on Lift Off Body. In fact, next Tuesday, Lift Off Body right here as we go live. Thanks, guys.